Architectural Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Thank you for returning my call. I'm kind of out and about. I'm not at my computer, but I think I can ask my question just from memory. I saw your video in which you changed the bitting or you rekeyed Segal locks, a double, what do they call it, a vertical deadbolt, a Jimmy-proof deadbolt. So anyway, I saw your video when you did that, and one thing that you didn't do, but I'm interested in doing to the same lock, I have the very same lock, you just changed the, what do they call the pins?
Well, when you rekey a pin tumbler cylinder, you do, remove and replace the pin tumblers with different tumblers.
Right. So you did that, but what I'm interested in doing is actually changing the cylinder to a ProTec, Abloy ProTec cylinder.
Well, aren't you the fancy pants? How much do you know about Abloy ProTec? I know a little bit. I've got one. Those are really cool, aren't they?
Yes, and I wanted to ask, are you a locksmith? Because you certainly have the skills.
I'm not. I'm an ALOA CPL, and if you know what ALOA is, it's the industry. It's the national, organization of locksmiths. I'm a certified professional locksmith. Actually, I'm an institutional certified professional locksmith. I don't really do any locksmithing on a daily basis because I do. I would say that I'm more of a consultant. But yeah,
so
I'm definitely accredited. I've
okay.
got the letters after my name.
Fantastic. So yeah, I'm interested in changing the cylinder, but here's the problem. The front cylinder, the one that's on the exterior of the door, that's no problem at all. It's just a different cylinder, and the tailpiece is going to match up just fine. But it's the one on the interior. For one thing, you pointed out, or it's on your website, that the key on the inside on the cylinder is only 4 bits, whereas the one on the outside is 5 bits, so that the key on the inside could be an emergency release key, but if it's stolen, they can't use that to open the door from the outside.
I wouldn't agree with that.
Well, that's what it says on your website.
Yeah, well, so if you have the length of the cylinder on the inside, this is a double cylinder Segal, the cylinder on the inside, if you were to take a Segal key and cut off, shorten the length of the key, you'd have a 4-pin blank. So therefore, if you left it in the cylinder, and if somebody absconded with that key, it would not work in the exterior. No one ever does that, and it doesn't include that emergency key. But you could create one by literally grinding your key down and pinning it accordingly. You're not going to be able to do it with an Abloy, though. Well, actually, you could.
Here's what I noticed when I got my lock and I was looking at it. The cylinder sleeve that's on the interior of the lock is shorter than the body of the cylinder that's on the exterior. And I thought, well, maybe that's because it's only accommodating 4 pins. And my question was, since you didn't show it on your video, I thought maybe you've played around with them where you've actually taken off the cylinder on the interior, because it's just held on by 2 screws. Yeah,
so I've actually, I don't know if I made a video of it or not, but I have actually taken a Segal double cylinder, and I have a client in Chicago about 2-3 years ago, and he's got Baldwin locks everywhere. And if you know about that, it'll be a Schlage C keyway almost all the time with Baldwin. Well, Segal stopped offering their double cylinders in a Schlage C. So what I did was I removed the inside cylinder because, as you stated, it's only held on with 2 screws. In essence, I then took a mortise cylinder, whatever length, let's say it was 1 inch, that Schlage C, I drilled and tapped into the back of the mortise cylinder so that I could resecure it to the housing. I had to order a longer cylinder collar, which was about 15/16 in length. I then had to build myself a custom tailpiece on the back of the mortise cylinder to engage the yoke to throw the bolts up and down, and it all worked perfectly. And I've got a Brahma cylinder here, doing it to an ASA or an Abloy or a Medico M3, whatever. It's all very possible.
Well, you mentioned the cylinder sleeve, so that's something that can be bought, and that sounds like that's what I'm going to need. If I purchase a ProTec2 cylinder that has the screws on the back, because it's normally used on the exterior of a door, it's going to be a little longer.
No,
so
it's
the
not going to work.
Will be in the, it won't?
Forgive me. So I studied that concept initially.
Okay.
Now, what you're discussing is a rim cylinder that will be drilled and tapped. The problem with the rim cylinder using a rim cylinder on the inside is how to adapt a tailpiece. I decided that I would use a mortise cylinder that I could put a cam onto, and I would simply drill and tap into the back of the mortise cylinder, which I've done many, many times. It's very easy. You just have to drill the hole straight and in the right location and then tap it for that. I think that screw is 1224, but whatever it is, you'll figure that out.
Okay.
And I reuse the same screws.
Okay.
So I could not figure out how to use a rim cylinder that's already drilled and tapped, so I had to go with a mortise cylinder.
Okay. Okay, that gives me a little bit better idea what I'll have to do if I want to accomplish this. But from all we've talked about, does it sound to you as though it can be done with the ProLock cylinders?
So I've got an Abloy laying around here somewhere. I have a collection of lots of high security stuff. I don't know where in my pile it is. But all you want to do is order a mortise cylinder from them, whatever the length is, and you're going to be able to drill and tap into the back. Because the cam chamber or the disc controller, I think is what they call it. I forget. You should have adequate room to do that. Why Abloy, may I ask? Just because it's super awesome?
Yes, the Abloy ProTec2 seems to be the top of the line right now. Nobody has demonstrated for certain that they can pick it. And just trying to get the best.
Yeah.
I came into a little money, and I said, I really want to upgrade my security, so I feel like I've got the best.
Good for you. So as long as the Abloy mortise cylinder will allow you to drill and tap those two holes, which I'm quite sure that it will, you're going to have no problem. And if the Abloy mortise cylinder won't permit that, then go to a Medico M3. And their patent's going to come up next year, and they'll have something new. Or go to an ASA, or go to there's probably people that have picked Primus. I'm quite sure of it. But at the end of the day, am I going to stand there and pick your cylinder? I totally agree. Not have just a regular pin tumbler on there. Have something upgraded, multiple shear lines. Sargent has so many great options as well, very much like Medico. Or you can get a Kaba Gemini, a dimple key. Who in the gospel is going to pick that? No one. But if you can fit that Abloy, that's really cool. Or
I'm
that's
trying to
really
get
cool.
all of my locks set up on ProTec2. So. But you mentioned the cylinder sleeve. Where can I obtain those in different lengths?
Me.
Oh, you sell them.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. I sell all the. I'm not a Abloy dealer. I buy it through an authorized wholesaler, so you'll get that from your local locksmith. But in terms of the cylinder collar, I would order that from Yale. I actually have two of them about 6 feet away from my desk, and one of them I have left over from my project when I did this, because I'm going to put my Brahma cylinder onto a Segal. Brahma is a 17th century technology that it's a radial type of construction. If you look up Brahma, Joseph Brahma, you'll see it. And I'm going to do it only because it's super cool. And you'll never get the key cut, nor will you with an Abloy. Good luck with that.
Okay. Let me just tell you one more thing about your website, just in case you don't know. your video on that was a couple, I think maybe 4 years old. It was back in 2016. So when I went to your website looking for the Segal locks, I didn't find them anywhere. And I went through page after page. I went through all kinds of pages. But when I finally called in your company and I talked to a woman this morning, she said, well, we still have it. And she told me the number to put in for search. And that's the only way I could find it on your website. So if somebody's looking to buy Segals from you, I don't think they have a very easy time finding them.
Well, you'd have to be in my site because Google doesn't.
No, I know, but I was in your site, and when you use all of the links, you know, for locks and doorknobs and everything, and you go down through there, it doesn't show any Segal locks at all. It showed a bunch of others like Ilco and like there were 7 pages of Baldwin deadlocks before you got to anything else, and then there was just 2 pages left, and there were no Segal locks. But they're in your website if you just know the number to search for.
Yeah, they're under deadbolts. It's lock sets and deadbolts, and then deadbolts, and then surface mounted, and then so on and so forth. They're definitely in a directory tree. But you're right. It's not. We have almost 10 million SKUs on the site. Unless you know what you're looking for, it is admittedly quite difficult to. Then the other problem is Segal has discontinued a lot of stuff. So if you're searching in my site for it, it won't be returned as a result because it's discontinued, even though I have a really cool video associated with it. You know.
Well, I'm not certain that that the Segals appear in your directory tree rather than only through your search function. You might have somebody double check it because I thought you must have quit carrying Segal because you had these other brands and there was no Segal ever in the group.
I'm looking at it. It's definitely in a breadcrumbs. They call it breadcrumbs navigation. One filter to the next one, one funnel, so to speak. But acknowledged, we have with 10 million products, it's unwieldy.
Well, one more thing. Segal used to make it's called a cylinder protection plate or something like that goes on the exterior. And they discontinued it. Are you familiar with Multi-Lock's plate? I think also, of course, Abloy owns Multi-Lock and Medico. So I think they have them under those brands as well. But they have a plate that doesn't appear to have any fasteners on the exterior. But I'm not certain of that because you can never see a picture of it without the thin cover plate. The thin cover plate allows you to change it from brass or chrome or whatever. And I can't tell if there's fastener heads under that, which would be like the Segal, just dressed up a little bit nicer, or if it's truly something that's welded to the back of their cover plate, so it goes through the door and there's no way to grind those off. I didn't know if you have anything like that.
Yeah, there's a post. There's 2 mounting posts. The problem in your application is making sure that the body of the Segal on the inside doesn't interfere with those low-profile head sex bolts.
Right. Well, really, I'm thinking about this for over my deadbolt, which is a ProTec2, and it's flat. Okay. It's a very flat base on the exterior, and so I was hoping to it's just like the Multi-Lock. They're using that for their deadbolts as well. So I didn't know if you carry something like that.
Yeah, I think HPC makes something that might work, but wherever you're buying your Abloy from, just have them, that high security cylinder guy is going to have that as well.
Okay. Yeah, that was from Security Snob. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Oh, of course. I've had correspondence with them, yeah. They do Abloy and they do other platforms. They do some European platforms as well.
Yeah.
Well, almost all of it's European in origin, but yeah, I know the dudes over there.
Okay. Well, thanks for your help today. That'll keep me from making some mistakes that I might have made otherwise.
Yeah. If you have any sort of background in anything mechanical, any sort of engineering concept, just sit there and stare at it. And another tip I would offer would be are you familiar with McMaster Carr?
Yes.
Okay, so I needed the 348 or the 440 screws that held the cam onto the back of the mortise cylinder at the plug. And the ProTec, I'm not sure what that's going to look like on the back. I'd have to look in their catalog. But you might use them in order to source that one weird thing that you need to put it all together, the unusual screw length or whatever. So take it apart, stare at it, and your approach will come to you. My approach was to use a mortise cylinder because I couldn't make a rim cylinder work with the tailpiece, and I would love to hear how you skin that cat.
Okay. Well, once I have it done, I'll give you a call.
I hope that you will.
Thank you.
And to you, sir. Best of luck. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye. Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.